Hello, people. I finished a book. I was a little bit short in doing this video because I finished this like, I don't know, 4 or 5 days ago. And I started 2 books in the meantime, gave up on both of them. And I went back and I'm rereading one of my older books, a very good book. I'm going to get to it in just a second here. After I'm done with this video, I'm going to start reading. The Sacred Band. 300 Theban lovers fighting to save Greek freedom. And this book kind of dovetails very nicely with not only what I read about Greece, but the last, I don't know, a couple of books ago, I read Philip and Alexander. And when Philip has his big battle with some of the other Greek city-states that have joined together to oppose him, that is the end of the 300. And they've actually found the mass grave of these guys, and in the book here there's little like hand-drawn maps of how they laid them out and everything. And they have tried to set it up, the mass grave of these guys. They've tried to set it up with the Statue of the Lion and everything, and it's a tourist attraction now. But let's get to my notes. This is published in 2021. I got the book at BAM, at Books A Million, and I paid a little bit of money for this. I paid $28 for it. So I'm looking forward to getting back to Detroit so that I can go to the used bookstore and pay $7, $8 for a book. They do have some used books also at Books A Million. You got to just be careful and look for the used ones. 256 pages. Right on page 8, this author thoughtfully lets me know how to pronounce Boeotia, because Boeotia, because I had been mispronouncing it forever, and because there's an O in there that's silent. It's spelled B-O-E-O, but you just ignore that first O. It's Boeotia. A lot of the stuff in here, they're quoting Xenophon, who was writing at that time. And they quote him a lot in here, and they talk about him a lot. And obviously, I've run into the name before. I actually have the book, The 10,000, The Sea. And the book wasn't that great, The 10,000. But since I'm an amateur Greek historian, I thought for a while that there was 2 guys named Xenophon, because he's kind of a many-faceted individual. And that wasn't uncommon in Greece. A general, a stratego, could have also been a philosopher. He could have been many other things, and that's what Xenophon was. All that we know about ancient Greece, I mean, certainly you can learn things from archaeology, but all the things we know about ancient Greece comes from authors from antiquity, and Xenophon is one of them. But these guys had their own prejudices. Xenophon kind of loved Sparta, and since Boeotia kind of knocks Sparta off their pedestal, Xenophon doesn't write very much about Boeotia or the 300 or anything. I guess one of the important things about the 300 is this was 150 couples. They were male lovers, and when they formed this unit. It was an elite unit. They would use them as the spearhead in the phalanx. When they formed it, they thought, you know what, let's use 150 couples, because they'll fight by each other's side. They won't want to do anything cowardly in front of their significant other, and that's what they did, and they fought very well. They were absolutely right about their theory. All of Greece was like that. I know everybody thinks, oh, the Spartans this, the Spartans that, but homosexuality was actually institutionalized there as well. And it was the same in Rome, only the Romans tended to gloss over it or ignore it. In Rome, if you wanted to make it up the ladder in politics and you were a young man, you attached yourself to an older man. Even Caesar did it. Let's get to, and Xenophon, he completely omits this battle, Leuctra. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but an outnumbered Boeotian force beats the shit out of the Spartans. And that's the second time that they did it. He just completely omits it, since he loves the Spartans so much. He just ignores that stuff. He doesn't want that to go down in history. Get to my reading. Last paragraph, 156. And this is a little bit about Persia. I try to get these paragraphs with things that I can pronounce, but I see right away there's something I can't. Susa was a place of luxury and splendor in the age of Artaxerxes. According to a Greek doctor named Ctesias, who served for 17 years as the royal family's physician. Among its wonders was a vast Peridios, the Greek version of an Iranian word, a walled game park for the king's private use. Watered by an elaborate irrigation system, Ctesias told of a team of counting cows that drew water to fill its canals. Each cow would draw precisely 100 buckets a day, no more and no less. Their minders could not force them to draw one pail above this total, even by beating them. The lushness of this and other walled parks impressed the Jews living in Persia. They patterned the Garden of Eden after them and called it, in Hebrew, a pardish. This word and its Greek sibling, paradisios, stand at the root of English paradise. So maybe that's where the story of, Eden and Adam and Eve, unless, of course, you think that that was a real thing. I don't know. Third paragraph, page 193. I have some explanatory notes here. I already talked about it. I'm talking about the ancient, the authors of antiquity. And I mentioned we can learn things through archaeology, but we can also learn things by looking at coins and statues, which is all part of archaeology. Third paragraph, 1, 2, 3. That was a message to furrow the brow of Epaminondas, especially when another one followed soon after. The rightists, who now controlled the 10,000, sent their own envoy, close on the heels of the one sent by the magistrates. The second messenger told Thebes to ignore the first. The 10,000 wanted no more interventions. Thebes should keep its nose out of Arcadian affairs. Two messages, tending opposite ways, were an unmistakable sign of a schism. For the moment, though, the Thebans did not make a move. It's just about the politics of the time. These Greek city-states were just constantly shifting their alliances. It was crazy, and it's very hard to keep up with in this book. Athens, fought a 40-year war with Sparta, but when the Boeotians looked like they were going to be on top, Athens had no problem allying itself with Sparta. And this here is a Persian saying, a Persian adage about great expectations and about how sometimes they don't pan out. And I've been waiting for a chance to use this, and by the time I get that chance, I'll probably forget it. But the saying goes, "The mountains labor and bring forth a mouse." They had something in here about some Gaulish mercenaries that they were using, and they were cavalry, and they were really good, and they make a big deal about how they had blue eyes, and they were game changers in Greek warfare, where the cavalry didn't really play that great of a part. They would have their little cavalry battles. They would use them for scouting. The Athenians used them when the Spartans laid siege to Athens, just to keep the Spartans on their toes. But they claim in this book that these Gaulish cavalrymen had stirrups. They also said that they had a saddle, which was kind of unknown in the Greek world. I don't think they had a stirrup. I really don't. It goes against everything that I had ever read. That the stirrup, people were using saddles, yeah, but the stirrup came much, much later. I take issue with that. Bottom of 234 to 235. And this is gonna be regarding the way that the other Greeks thought of the Macedonians. And by the way, they thought of the Boeotians in the same way. Where once the priests of the shrine had favored Thebes, they now leaned toward their new protectors, Philip and his Macedonians, though the Greekness of these northerners was in doubt. Officials had once excluded them from the Olympic Games on grounds they were foreigners. The priests of Delphi awarded them proentia, the right to cut the line when consulting an oracle. Even the answers delivered by the Pythia, Apollo's priestess, seemed to be tilting in Philip's favor. That, at least, was the view of Demosthenes, by now the leading orator of Athens, and Demosthenes was constantly against Philip. When Athens sought to consult Delphi about an ill-omened event, some men who'd been washing a sacrificial pig in the sea had been bitten by a shark. Demosthenes squashed the proposal, claiming the oracle was tainted by bias. The Pythia Philippizes, he told the assembly, coining a potent new word connoting betrayal of Greece. And I included that because it's even going on today, whether the Macedonians are Greek or not. Thanks for watching.